So the trade deadline is about 2 weeks away, and a video that I like to make every year, my trade deadline predictions. And today I'm putting a twist on it. It's actually something I tried out on my podcast last year. I'm going to be dropping every single player that I think could be brought up into trade rumors into a tier list. We've 100% gone 50-50, pretty self-explanatory. Wouldn't shock me, so if I did get like a Shams notification this player got traded, exactly, I wouldn't be totally shocked. If a team overpays, so I think they would not really want to trade this player, but if it's like a solid role player and a team offers 2 first-round picks, they can't say no. Nobody wants them. The team would love to trade them, but I don't think there's going to be any suitors. And then just, nope, I don't believe they're getting traded. And funny side note here, last night I tweeted the most hilarious stat line all season. It was Yusuf Nurkic's triple-double against Rudy Gobert, and I got quote tweeted by Yusuf Nurkic, and he says, when the LinkedIn bio says entrepreneur, but the bank account says relax. I was just like, I had to do a double take that the Bosnian Beast quoted me. Some of the replies you guys like sent were hilarious. They literally had me in tears having my back. Because I didn't even mean like that to be a mean tweet. I just thought it was kind of like one of the more shocking stat lines we might actually see. So let's get into this now. If there's anybody that I don't talk about that you think I could have mentioned in this tier list, please let me know down below. And if you agree or disagree with anything I said, also please let me know down below. We've only seen one trade so far. It was CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert for Trae Young. We have yet to see Trae Young play for the Washington Wizards, and I think Hawks fans want to buy out CJ McCollum right now. So we'll start off here. We have Andrew Wiggins, the Miami Heat. I have Andrew Wiggins here because the Miami Heat have been around 500 this season. They've been slightly disappointing in a way. They just had a nice win yesterday against the Sacramento Kings. They're a good defensive team, but I do feel like a lot of contenders would value somebody like Wiggins. So like, I think if a team overpays for Wiggins, that's why they would end up making a deal. Miami doesn't like to make deals unless they know that they're winning most of it, or they just have no other option, a la Jimmy Butler from last year. But Andrew Wiggins at 30 years old, I think he could be a free agent this summer. He could opt out. He's still a really good player and somebody that could still do a little bit of everything. I don't think Miami's like really rushing to trade him and calling people, but if a team offers you like 2 first-round picks, a matching salary, and a young player, you're not going to say no to that. So I'm going to have Andrew Wiggins there just because I think he could be made semi-available. Anthony Simon, sorry that he's in a Blazers jersey. I mean, I guess it's still... Like, I don't know. He's been playing well recently for the Boston Celtics, who are the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. So it's not like Boston is looking to shed that money right now because it looks like they're going to get some pretty good home playoff games. I guess it still wouldn't shock me if Simons get traded. I don't think I want to say nobody wants him because he's playing good enough where maybe somebody would want him. I just don't know if there's going to be a deal out there that makes sense. Yeah, it would probably be for a big. I don't want to say it's 100% no that he doesn't get traded, so I'm going to throw him in that wouldn't shock me tier right now. Ayo Dosunmu. Oh my God, I'm throwing him in 50-50 because I feel like every Chicago Bull that's an expiring contract should be traded. They should trade Kevin Huerter. They're going to probably, like, they should trade away every Bull I'm going to mention in this video. Basically, everybody on the roster not named. Montes Buzelis, Josh Giddey, and Noah Essinga. Yeah, I even think they should trade away Kobe White. They just beat the Clippers yesterday to go to 21-22 on the season. They were the 9th seed in the Eastern Conference. They're projected the 12th overall pick. That is not a recipe for sustainable success. It's just not. I don't know if they're ever going to change their ways. That's why I'm like, they should go out and trade for Anthony Davis or go trade for Jimmy Butler, trade all these expirings for those guys, because you could still get like a big name back who's not going to play, and you can actually lose games in the second half. So I'm throwing the Bulls in 50, or excuse me, I'm throwing Dosunmu in 50-50. Oh, Benedict Mathurin. I want to say that he's 100% gone. Now he's hurt right now. I just don't think Indiana is going to want to give him an extension at the end of the year, but it also wouldn't totally shock me if he played on the qualifying offer in the 2027 season when the Pacers are going to be better, when he's going to be playing in some more high-profile games, definitely playoff games, when they get their top 5-6 pick, when they get Tyrese Halliburton back. We saw Quentin Grimes and Cam Thomas kind of do that this offseason as well. Jonathan Kuminga to a kind of a different way. He did get a higher pay raise, and maybe Indiana does that as well. Maybe Indiana gives him a 1-year $15 million contract. More teams have cap space this summer, but I think Indiana's like, we're not going to trade him for nothing. He's dealing with a thumb issue right now, so maybe if he has a good game before the trade deadline, that can kind of sway some things. Brandon Bojemski It wouldn't shock me, honestly, right now. It would have to be maybe a larger deal. He's going along with Jonathan Kuminga. He's going along with Moses Moody or Buddy Hield. We'll get to some other Warriors throughout this video. I don't think Pods is safe. I don't think he's an untouchable. I still like Pods for the value he provides you for somebody that was drafted outside the lottery, so he's not making a ton of money. When you're paying Jimmy, who's not playing, Draymond and Steph, basically 90% of your cap space. And we'll see what Mike Dunleavy does by the deadline, because the Warriors, I want to say that they should do something, but Jimmy Butler tearing his ACL, which I haven't really talked about on this channel yet, it's just a gut punch to their title hopes, which I think were kind of slim already. I think you would have said this was a successful season if you won a playoff series and had a hard-fought round number 2 with Jimmy, Steph, and Draymond. But with Jimmy out and what he provides as a secondary scorer, and I think their record is like 42-18 when Jimmy and Steph play together, it's down to 0, and I don't think it's wise to trade future draft capital for like Anthony Davis or a veteran that might not be here in 2 to 3 years. Now, if you're trading Pods and Kuminga for somebody that's 27 years old, I don't mind that. So yeah, I think Pods is like far from untouchable. So I'm going to throw him in the wouldn't shock me tier. Kobe White, 50-50. They should trade him. Teams should trade for Kobe White, but I don't know what Chicago is going to do. If they were a semi-competent organization right now, they would trade away Dosunmu and Kobe White or give them phantom injuries, because this team is going to win too many meaningless games against the Wizards, the Pacers, the banged up Clippers, where they're now going to just kind of eliminate any good chance they have at landing a Peterson, DeBanta, or Boozer who can actually turn this franchise around. The Bulls haven't been a formidable team in the Eastern Conference in over a decade. I know the start of the 2022 season was fun, but that was just a few months, right? You can't just keep latching onto that. Obviously, DeRozan and Levine and Lonzo aren't there anymore, but Nikola Vucevic is. They gave him that extension a couple years ago. I don't know if they regret that. Colin Sexton of the Charlotte Hornets, not of the Utah Jazz here. I don't know, honestly. I like him in Charlotte, and Charlotte has been a top 10 offense this year. He is a free agent at the end of the year. I guess Sexton wouldn't shock me either if Charlotte was looking to actually make a play for Anthony Davis or Karl Anthony Towns and get to that big salary, because they have Miles Bridges and Colin Sexton, good spark plug for a team off the bench. I don't think would cost too much, but maybe you can honestly drop him if a team overpays going forward. But I'm going to throw him in the wouldn't shock me tier. Dalton Connect, I think the Lakers would have tried already. I think they're really wishing that they could have done Dalton Connect in the first round pick for Mark Williams a year ago. That would have aged well right now using hindsight. Mark Williams has stayed healthy this year, which is something that he has struggled to do throughout his career, and he's been so much fun to watch in Phoenix this season. I just don't think Dalton Connect has enough value on his own, and now you're attaching multiple first round picks just to get enough value to get a difference maker for the Lakers this season. He could honestly get attached with like a Gabe Vincent, a Maxi Kleba, a Jared Vanderbilt, who I would probably put in wouldn't shock me tier, just because they're just expiring money. Like, you might as well trade 3 of them for Anthony Simons, but the Celtics probably wouldn't do that, but you would try to move them regardless. I have Dalton Connect though. I'm going to throw him in no one wants them. I think he's got to have to maybe get that value up a little bit. I mean, I guess I could throw him in nobody shocks me, or wouldn't shock me, just because he's still on a rookie contract, so it's not like he's getting overpaid right now. Darius Garland. Ooh, this one's tough. I don't know what Cleveland's going to do. I think they want to see this team fully healthy, but they're 24-20, 44 games in. This team only lost 18 games last year, and they're going to lose most likely 30 plus, maybe close to 40 this season. I'm going to say nope. I think if they were to make a big switch up, it's not going to involve Garland, although Garland's contract is somewhat movable. It would shock me because it would finally get done, but like, we've kind of heard Garland's name in trade rumors for a little bit now. But I think at the deadline, I don't think he gets traded. I don't think Kobe Altman pulls off a type of move like that. And I think he's going to stay as a Cav until maybe they have another disappointing playoff exit. And then I think ownership is like, you can't justify being in the second apron again for a team that is underperforming every single season. So I'm going to have Garland in the nope tier. Domantas Sabonis. I'm kind of at 50-50 right now. I think Sacramento is definitely open to trading away Domantas Sabonis. If we look at their salary cap sheet right here, they have a lot of tradable guys. Sabonis, though, it's a hefty contract, $42 million, $45 million, $48.6 million. He can be a free agent at the end of the 2028 season. He just came back from that knee injury. He hasn't looked great since he's came back, but he's been coming off the bench. He's probably still rusty, trying to get ramped up again. He could definitely be a difference maker, and I think there are some suitors out there. I don't really like him in Charlotte, to be honest with you. I think they need more of a rim protector, let Khan, Miller, and LaMelo do most of the scoring. Maybe Charlotte gets involved. I don't think the Knicks would try to do like a Karl Anthony Towns or Sabonis, but we'll get to the Knicks as well later on. Maybe Memphis tries to do something. Maybe Milwaukee tries to reunite Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis. Fred VanVleet. Oh man, this one's also tough because the Rockets, man. The Rockets are 26-15. They just had an electric win yesterday against the San Antonio Spurs. They're the 4th ranked team in terms of that rating. They're a top 10 defensive team. They're a top 3 offensive team. And Fred VanVleet, I mean, he hasn't been ruled out this year. So I think that gives you a little bit of hope. And Fred VanVleet tore his ACL. Was it back in August? It was September 22nd. Oh man, it was so close to the season starting where I would just be shocked if he came back this year. Like Tatum had a more serious injury, but at least it was like 5 months earlier than when Fred VanVleet got hurt. I think he doesn't get traded. He's got to waive his like de facto no trade clause as well. It would make sense because Kevin Durant isn't getting any younger. You have Tari Eason still on this cheap contract as well. Steven Adams just got hurt, but he should be back before the year ends. Finney Smith, like Clint Capella, these guys are still playing at an all right level. Reed Shepherd just was so good against San Antonio. I would see the reason for doing it. Maybe I throw Fred VanVleet and wouldn't shock me, but the thing is, like, would he waive his no trade clause? It seems like he's a great locker room vet. He's been there for a while. He's like one of the longer tenured Rockets on this team. I just don't think they end up doing it. I don't. We think that trading injured players makes some sense, and it does, but like there's the whole human aspect and element behind closed doors and what they value Fred VanVleet as a player going forward, knowing that he'll be on the team next year, but how is he going to look off an ACL tear where like you value his defense, and is he going to lose a step? I'm a little nervous by it, not going to lie. Herb Jones. Oh man, I kind of want to throw Herb Jones into 100% gone. Like I do. I have a good feeling Herb Jones is going to get traded. I don't think, oh man, like maybe if a team overpays, maybe I throw him in 50-50. I'm going to have him in my first 100% gone. This is one I'm putting a stamp approval. Herb Jones gets traded. There's a contract extension for Herb Jones about to kick in. It gets very expensive, especially for what the Pelicans are doing going forward. 14.8, 20.8, 22.5. 24.1 million in 2030. If a team is willing to give you multiple first round picks, I would trade away Herb Jones. I don't know if they will at this point. We're like 2 years removed from his like top 5 defensive player of the year finish. So I'm going to throw him up there. That's going to be my hot take in the video, that Herb Jones is 100% gone at the deadline. Emmanuel Quickley, I just don't think anybody wants him. Now, to Quickley's credit, he looked so good against the Golden State Warriors on Tuesday night. It's just he's making a lot of money. If Emmanuel Quickley was going to get traded, it would be in a larger deal for like a Domantas Sabonis if Toronto really wanted to go after somebody of that caliber. $32.5 million this year, next year, 2028, 2029. He is 26 years old. I still think Quickley is an objectively like good player out there. He's a solid enough defender. He's a great movement shooter. He's got solid court vision. He can run extremely well in transition. Now we have Ja Morant. So Ja Morant, like there's been the rumors. I mean, Shams, who you do like respect his reporting, tweeted out a couple weeks ago that for the first time since drafting him, the Grizzlies are open to Ja Morant trade dialogues. Now, he just played in that London game. Mark Stein kind of also reported like, I don't know if it was his shoe brand or the NBA that was like pushing him to play. He looked great in that game as well against Orlando. I'm going to throw Ja 50-50. I don't think it's 100% chance he's gone. It does feel like some suitors are like, we're not really that interested. Toronto doesn't seem that interested in Ja. Miami, which made sense, doesn't really seem that interested in Ja either. But I still think there is a chance he could get traded. So I'm throwing it at 50-50 because of the Shams reporting, because of where the Grizzlies have been heading ever since they traded away Desmond Bane. So yeah, I'm throwing Ja in that 50-50 tier. Jaden Ivey. This one is tough because Jaden Ivey is a restricted free agent at the end of the year. He's been coming alive a little bit as of late for the Detroit Pistons, who are playing some of the best basketball in the NBA. Right now, they are 31-10 on the season. Jaden Ivey right now is averaging 8.5 points, 46% from the field, 36% from three. I just think like this could also be another qualifying offer situation similar to Benedict Mathurin. And I just think like where Detroit is headed, and I think they value Ivey with what they're building. I think like Indiana values Mathurin, but at their peak of their powers, like last year, he was not playing that much in a playoff series. And I just feel like Detroit would run their chance with like giving him the qualifying offer, similar to Cam Thomas and Quentin Grimes in the offseason. And they're not going to trade him unless like he can land them like an absolute stud, but it's tough because he's making $8 million. So now you're attaching him with somebody else. Jalen Suggs has been in rumors as of late because of the injuries, how Orlando is getting very expensive. And yeah, like back to the injuries, he hasn't really been that reliable health-wise since he signed that extension, but I just don't think they're going to trade him. I feel like that's a little bit short-sighted, a little bit reactionary as well. As perfect of a world Karl-Anthony Towns or Jalen Suggs could be as a Knicks fan, why would Orlando do that? I don't think he's getting traded at the deadline. Jaren Jackson Jr., like, it makes sense if they trade away John Morant to go that route as well. I would say if a team overpays for Jaren Jackson Jr., like they are giving you the Desmond Bane, Mikal Bridges draft pick return on top of like a intriguing young player. Like I'm talking about a fringe top 25, under 25 player. Like I'm using this for example, Keontae George and 5 first round picks. Like I don't think Memphis says no to something like that, but I just think like it would have to cost a lot, but I do believe that they're at least open to the dialogue. I think like these point guards and their teams are a little bit less open to the dialogue right now. Jared Allen, I'm actually going to throw in wouldn't shock me, just because if the Cavs do make one type of move, I do think it would be Allen over Garland. It is tough though, because the Cavs are a second apron team right now. So if they were to make a trade, they would kind of have to, they would have to do a 1-for-1 most likely, and they would have to get under the salary that they are sending out. So you're not moving Mobley, you're not moving Mitchell. We already talked about Darius Garland. We could talk about Jared Allen, whose contract gets kind of expensive going forward as well. It goes up to $28 million next year, then $30 million, $32 million. So maybe that's more for the offseason. But I think if I saw this notification come through on my phone with how like mid the Cavs have been this year, maybe that's because of Max Strus, I'm going to say it wouldn't shock me. Jeremy Grant, I guess it wouldn't shock me either. He's been playing good this year, and that's when Portland should get out. I mean, is there a Jeremy Grant, Karl-Anthony Towns shade, something like that? I could keep throwing that out there. Or you're using Jeremy Grant's matching salary of $30 million to get to somebody that can help Denny and Dame when he returns, and Donovan Clingan and Tamati Kamara moving forward. It wouldn't shock me. I'm not expecting it to happen, but yeah, if that notification came through, I wouldn't be totally shocked. Jonathan Isaac, I don't think anybody really wants that contract. He really would just be salary filler in a trade right now. It's sad because injuries really derailed his career, but it feels like his best days are long behind him. I kind of want to put Kuminga in nobody wants them, but he's got to get traded. Like at the buzzer of the deadline, and Kuminga did play well against Toronto. Do they just accept like Nikola Vucevic in a second for Jonathan Kuminga? I think you have to. I don't know if there's any benefit of Kuminga being on your team at the end of the year. I mean, he does have a team option. You don't have Jimmy Butler. You might as well see what he can do now in an expanded workload. So maybe the Jimmy injury would dock him a little bit to like 50-50. I just like, he demanded a trade, and Mike WV said like, if you demand a trade, there needs to be a demand for you on the market, which is hilarious. But yeah, I'm going to throw Kuminga at 100% gone. I think he gets traded. I think Jordan Hawkins gets traded at the deadline this year as well. I don't think the Pelicans have a full-on fire sale, but I do think they move on from some of their excess of wings right now. Jose Alvarado, same thing. I'm going to throw him in 50-50. Actually, I'm going to throw him in 100% gone. He could be a free agent at the end of the year. So maybe I'll throw Hawkins in 50-50 because I think it makes a lot more sense for them to move Alvarado. And yeah, my hot take was Herb Jones there. He can help out a lot of teams trying to make the playoffs. Karl-Anthony Towns. Man, this is tough. I could throw him in nobody wants, Cat, to be honest with you. I don't think he ends up getting traded. I think the Knicks want to see this team in a playoff series one more time, just because of how wide open the Eastern Conference, even at like rock bottom, what feels like for the Knicks this season, they could still beat Detroit and Boston. It's not like it's the Oklahoma City Thunder going up against like an 8-seeded Memphis Grizzlies team last year. Like the Knicks would have a chance against Detroit and Boston either way. Now, if they lose to like Brooklyn tonight and they go on a little bit of a skid even more, yeah, we could bump this up a little bit by the deadline, but I'm going to say nope for now. Khalil Ware, you know, it wouldn't shock me. I think that could happen in the offseason just because I feel like him and Spo have been clashing this season. So that's why I at least wanted to bring his name up. Chris Middleton, I just think nobody really wants Middleton at that money. And he's more so like, yeah, I'll get bought out. Maybe if the Lakers like would just attach Kleba, Vanderbilt, and Vincent for Chris Middleton, sure, like that could help them in some ways, but I think they would just play the buyout market. Klay Thompson, I just don't think anybody's really lining up to trade for Klay Thompson because of the money he's making next year. I'm sure they're hoping that he could be a throw-in in a deal as well. But yeah, I just don't think anybody's really lining up to trade for those vets at the moment. Kyle Kuzma, sorry about these guys being in old jerseys. I don't think anybody really wants to trade for Kuzma, to be honest with you. I just think it's also more so like if he does get traded, it's going to be attached with like Bobby Portis for a bigger name to team up with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Next up, we have Kyrie Irving. Nope, I don't think it's happening this year at the deadline, but if we do an off-season trade video, which you can let me know if you want to see something like that eventually, I think we can definitely talk about a Kyrie Irving trade then. LaMelo Ball, nope. I just think he's playing too well in Charlotte at the moment, and maybe this is when you trade him, when he's playing well, because you can actually get a good return for him, and you might be selling high. I just don't think Charlotte ends up doing it this year at the deadline. They have like a top 10 offense in the league this season. Lauri Markkanen, I think if a team overpays, like, I don't think Utah's really lining up to trade Markkanen. I mean, Keontae George has been so good for them this year. Ace Bailey looked good against Minnesota. Yusuf Nurkic looked good against Minnesota as well. So I do feel like Markkanen, he's making a lot of money. 46, 46, 49, 53. I think it will happen, but we know how Danny Ainge operates. He's not making this deal unless somebody, overpays his way. Malik Monk, I'm going to say 100% gone. I think the Sacramento Kings are going to trade Malik Monk at the deadline. He's making roughly about $18 million this year, and then it goes up to 20 million, 21 million. I mean, maybe teams are a little bit scared of that contract, actually. So never mind. I'm dropping him down to 50-50. Michael Porter Jr., I'm throwing in 50-50 as well. I do think the Nets should trade him. They should sell high on MPJ, but it's just like they don't own their first round pick next year. So would it be wise? Maybe if a team overpays, like I could throw Michael Porter Jr. in that tier as well. Like maybe the Nets don't really want to. No, but I think the Nets would. Like if you would have told Sean Marks in that front office in the offseason, like you could get 2 first round picks and an intriguing young player, a first round pick matching salary and a young player for Porter Jr., you would do that deal. Mitchell Robinson wouldn't shock me. He's a free agent at the end of the year. If I look up what the Knicks are close to the second apron, 150K. I would be a little bit worried that the Knicks might not re-sign Mitchell Robinson at the end of the year, who does help their title chances, but maybe they would look to shake things up. They don't have great big man depth behind them. I'm just saying it wouldn't shock me. I don't think it happens, but if I do get that notification, I could see it coming. Nick Claxton, I'll say same thing. Wouldn't shock me with the Nets. I think Day'Ron Sharpe has been pretty good for the team this year. So I would say maybe they're comfortable about moving Claxton, who has a descending contract. Call up the Lakers, call up the Pacers, teams that need a center. Patrick Williams, nobody wants that contract. I'm sure Chicago would like to move Patrick Williams, but he's making $18 million a year for like the next 3 to 4 years. That is maybe the worst contract in the NBA. He definitely needs a change of scenery. I'm just not sure if that's happening anytime soon because of the contract. RJ Barrett. I mean, it's kind of the same as Emmanuel Quickley. I will say it wouldn't shock me if he was included in a Anthony Davis trade or if he's included in a Domantas Sabonis trade. Rob Dillingham, I'm going to say 100% gone. I think they should trade him this year at the deadline because he's making a decent amount of money since he was the 8th overall pick. Bones Hyland has outplayed him this season as the backup guard. They need to add somebody like Jose Alvarado or Ayo Dosunmu or Kobe White or Brandon Podziemski or one of these guards that could potentially help them in the playoffs. Robert Williams as well. I think that wouldn't shock me just because he's a free agent at the end of the year. They just drafted Hansen Yang. They also have Donovan Clingan. They are trying to make the playoffs this year. The Portland Trailblazers right now are 22-22, and with the injury to Jimmy Butler, they may think they can get that 8 seed in the playoffs. Now, their pick is actually lottery protected to Chicago, so I don't know if that's a wise decision. Either way, I do think if some team is willing to give them something valuable for Robert Williams, he could get traded. Russ in a Nuggets jersey. I would say 100% gone, either in a buyout market or getting traded. So I guess I could throw Chris Middleton there as well, because I do think Chris Middleton ends up getting bought out this year at the deadline or at the buyout deadline if he is not traded. Russ has been too good. Like, I need to see him on some type of team. Let's get him in Minnesota. Let's get him on some desperate playoff team like Milwaukee. I need to see Russ helping some teams out. Tari Eason, I don't think he gets traded. He's a restricted free agent at the end of the year. It could make sense, but I'm going to say right now, they're not going to trade him. I think he's too valuable to their long-term plans. And I think they're going to hope an extension does get done in the offseason. Trey Murphy, no as well. I mean, like I could throw him if a team overpays where you actually have to throw, you know what, maybe I'll throw Trey Murphy in that tier because I do think the Pelicans would listen to offers for Trey Murphy. They said earlier in the year when they were terrible and Trey Murphy wasn't playing the best at the start of the year, they would actually listen to trade offers for Trey Murphy. He's playing too good as of late. Every team has a price. Every player has a price. Luka Doncic got traded, so it wouldn't shock me if Joe Dumars did something like this. I'm going to throw him in that tier. Ty Jerome for Memphis. I mean, I don't think it would shock me either. We just haven't seen him play yet this season. But it could make sense if like Cleveland just kind of wants to go back to their ex. Tyler Hero wouldn't shock me as well. We talked about Miami being slightly disappointing this year, and it could make sense for them to maybe not extend Tyler Hero and assess his trade market going forward at $33 million. Walker Kessler, if a team overpays, I think the Utah Jazz would like to extend Kessler. I think they will at the end of the year, given that he could be a restricted free agent. But if a team throws a very nice and generous offer, they would think about that. Zach LaVine, I'm going to throw 50-50. Actually, I'm going to say nobody wants him. The Sacramento Kings would probably love to trade Zach LaVine and get out of that like $40+ million player option next year. I just don't think any team is really going after LaVine at the moment. Next up, we have Zion Williamson. I'm throwing it at 50-50. So the Bulls were reportedly interested in Zion Williamson this year at the deadline, which I think actually would make sense and that would excite me about them. And if you look at Zion Williamson's contract, you can cut him in the offseason for $0 if you do want to get out of it. I think it makes a lot of sense for Chicago to try to trade some matching salary for Zion Williamson. Jimmy Butler, I don't think he gets traded. I guess you could throw him in, like, wouldn't shock me, but I just think it's easier said than done to trade an injured player. So I don't think Golden State is going to go in that direction. I think Moses Moody wouldn't shock me. I don't like Buddy Hield wouldn't shock me. I would say, like, for Golden State, if they want to have one last ditch effort for Steph Curry, Gershon Yabusele, I'm going to say he's 100% gone for the New York Knicks right now. Gershon has been maybe the worst free agency signing from the 2025 offseason. I liked it, so I look like a fool as well. It's just not worked out in New York, and I think he could be a change of scenery guy as well. And maybe he can go team up with like his French mate in San Antonio. Can we get a Jeremy Sohan for Gershon deal done? Keon Ellis, I'm going to say 100% gone as well. He's a free agent at the end of the year. I mean, let's just do Keon Ellis for Rob Dillingham and call it a day. Yves Missi. He's been in trade reports as of late and rumors, Boston, Indiana teams that want a center. I don't think it would shock me either if he got traded. Like, I think any Pelican is potentially on the table outside of Queen, outside of Fears, and I would say outside of Trey Murphy. But if a team does throw, like if Atlanta says, we'll give you your first round pick back, they're going to do it. Rui Hachimura would not shock me either. An expiring $18 million contract. I feel like he's never gelled perfectly under JJ Redick and his offensive game plans and schematics. So that could be potentially on the market. Giannis. Do I want to put Giannis in 50-50? I do not. To be honest, as like boring as it sounds, I don't think Giannis gets traded at the deadline. I think that would happen in the offseason. I know he's been flip-flopping back and forth between like, I do want to get traded. I don't want to get traded. I want to stay here for the rest of my life. I don't know where I'm going to be next year. Like, he's giving mixed signals. I'm sure the Knicks would love to do Karl-Anthony Towns and something for Giannis Antetokounmpo, but why would Milwaukee do that? I don't think Houston, OKC, San Antonio is making an in-season trade like this unless San Antonio can get it done without Garland, without Castle and Harper. Maybe there's a shocking like Toronto Raptors deal in there, but yeah, I'm going to say nope for Giannis. Jordan Poole wouldn't shock me. Like I said, anybody on the Pelicans as well, which could be the same. I didn't talk about DeJounte Murray, or I thought I had DeJounte Murray here, but DeJounte Murray could also be in this same tier. It looks like we might not see him before the trade deadline, unfortunately. Kristaps Porzingis wouldn't shock me as well. Atlanta might not make the playoffs this year. Kristaps Porzingis is an expiring contract at the end of the year. They've been trying to maybe trade him and some matching salary for Anthony Davis. It felt like the holdup was Zachary Sachet, who I don't think they would trade. Honestly, Tobias Harris, I don't think gets traded at the deadline. I think he means too much to like the locker room and this team dynamic in Detroit right now, where they're not going to trade him, and they would look to maybe move Karis LeVert, who I'm going to put at a 50-50 chance. I think if you're trying to get a good rotational player, maybe another shooter, you're moving LeVert and like your first round pick this year or next year at the deadline, because he's been a little bit of a disappointment in Detroit. Maybe Malik Beasley can become available at one point. Vucevic, I'm throwing him in 50-50. He should get traded, but I just don't know if Chicago will. They should buy him out after the trade deadline if they can't find a suitor. I doubt they will. Yusuf Nurkic, I have in here as well. I was like, I gotta throw him in here. Do I throw him in? No one wants him. Clap back a little bit. I guess it wouldn't shock me, but I would say he's probably a buyout guy. He's helping them win games. So like Utah's trying to keep their first round pick. Gafford, I would say if a team overpays, like I don't think they're really in the market to move Gafford. They want to be good next year since they don't own their first round pick. It goes to Charlotte. So I'm throwing him in if a team overpays. Bobby Portis wouldn't shock me as well. Same with like Kyle Kuzma earlier. Quentin Grimes wouldn't shock me just because he's a free agent at the end of the year. Philly's probably not going to be able to afford him. They got to get more minutes to Jared McCain, who's been slightly disappointing this season and is now in the G League. I know if Philly's trying to win a playoff series, Grimes will help them out. But if they can maybe get somebody on a longer term deal, like if it's Quentin Grimes for Saddiq Bey, who I thought I had here as well, like maybe both teams end up doing that. I'm going to throw Saddiq Bey in 50-50. I think they would like to move him. Najee Marshall, if a team overpays. I just don't think Dallas is really in the market to move Najee Marshall at the moment, but because he's also under contract next year at a great price tag. But if a team gives you an offer you can't refuse, they're going to do that. Miles Bridges, I just don't think anybody really wants to trade for Miles Bridges at this point, and it would just end up being in that matching salary. And then DeAndre Hunter, I guess wouldn't shock me, like Jared Allen as well. So we just talked about a lot of players. So the guys that I'm saying will be either traded or bought out this year at the deadline, 100%. Alvarado, Kuminga, Dillingham, Russ, and Middleton. Those two maybe being more buyout guys. Gershon and Keon Ellis. I will say Herb Jones is my hot take. He gets traded. 50-50. I could see it either way. I could see Michael Porter Jr. staying or going. Same with all these guys here. Wouldn't shock me. I'm not expecting them to get traded, but if I get that notification, like I said, I wouldn't be totally shocked. I don't think these guys will get traded either, but if a team does come in with a Godfather offer at the 11th hour, maybe they do end up getting traded and then nobody wants them. I think they would like to move on and they would like to upgrade these specific roles on these teams, but I just think the contracts or age is going to make it difficult. And then I think these guys are either maybe off-season trade candidates or they're just not getting traded at the moment. Also, I have no idea why when I was making this that Anthony Davis just kind of got removed, because he could definitely be the cream of the crop of the 2026 trade deadline. I would say that for Anthony Davis, like I want to say that he's 100% gone, and I do feel like that makes the most sense in Dallas to go in a different direction, but the injury and just the decrease in value, I'm going to put Anthony Davis 50-50. I could definitely see a team like the Toronto Raptors, maybe the New York Knicks, maybe the Golden State Warriors get a little bit desperate and try to get Anthony Davis. Maybe it's the Chicago Bulls matching salary thing I said earlier. Dallas, though, they're not getting a great return, but I just think they should move in a different direction moving forward. So pre-injury Anthony Davis, 100% gone. Post-injury Anthony Davis, I'm dropping it to 50-50. I still think there's a good chance he gets moved, though. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, I would appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you agree with, what you disagree with, maybe anybody that I didn't talk about that you think could get traded. Let me know down below. Subscribe if you're not already. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.